Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th Canto, Chapter 7, Text number 3. Please repeat after me. Tannaichan Daityapatayo. Tannaichan Daityapatayo. Mahapurusha Chestitam. Mahapurusha Chestitam. Na gruhnimo vayam pucham. Na gruhnimo vayam pucham. Aher angam amangalam. Aher angam amangalam. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Prakyata janma karma bihi. Prakyata janma karma bihi. Tannaichan Daityapatayo. Nimo vayam pucham. Aherangam amangalam. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Prakyata janma karma bihi. Tannaichan Daityapatayo. Mahapurusha Chestitam. Na gruhnimo vayam pucham. Aherangam amangalam. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Prakyata janma karma bihi. Naityam Daityapatayo. Shasyate stitam. Na gruhnimo vayam pucham. Aherangam amangalam. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Prakyata janma karma bihi. Tannaichan Daityapatayo. Mahapurusha Chestitam. Na gruhnimo vayam pucham. Aherangam amangalam. Swadhyaya shruta sampannaha. Prakyata janma karma bihi. That arrangement. Na aichan, not liking. Daityapatayaha, the leaders of the demons. Mahapurusha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chestitam, attempt. Na, not. Grihnimaha, shall take. Vayam, all of us, the Daityas. Pucham, the tail. Ahehe, of the serpent. Angam, part of the body. Amangalam, inauspicious, inferior. Swadhyaya, with Vedic study. Shruta, and Vedic knowledge. Sampannaha, fully equipped. Prakyataha, prominent. Janma karma bihi, by birth and activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The leaders of the demons thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus, the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge and were all famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. Purport. The demons thought that the front of the snake was auspicious and that catching hold of that portion would be more chivalrous. Moreover, Daityas must always do the opposite of the demigods. That is their nature. We have actually seen this in relation to our Krishna consciousness movement. We are advocating cow protection and encouraging people to drink more milk and eat palatable preparations made of milk. But the demons, just to protest such proposals, are claiming that they are advanced in scientific knowledge, as described here by the words Swadhyaya Shruta Sampannaha. They say that according to their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous and that the beef obtained by killing cows is very nutritious. This difference of opinion will always continue. Indeed, it has existed since days of yore. Millions of years ago, there was the same competition. The demons, as a result of their so-called Vedic study, preferred to hold the side of the snake near the mouth. The Supreme Personality of Godhead thought it wise to catch hold of the dangerous part of the snake and allow the demons to hold the tail, which was not dangerous. But because of a competitive desire, the demons thought it wise to hold the snake near the mouth. If the demigods were going to drink poison, the demons would resolve, why should we not share the poison and die gloriously by drinking it? In regard to the words Swadhyaya Shruta Sampannaha Prakyata Janma Karma Bihi, another question may be raised. If one is actually educated in Vedic knowledge, is famous for performing prescribed activities, and has been born in a great aristocratic family, why should he be called a demon? The answer is that one may be highly educated and may have been born in an aristocratic family, but if he is godless, if he does not listen to the instructions of God, then he is a demon. There are many examples in the history of men like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana and Kamsa who were well educated, who were born in aristocratic families, and who were very powerful and chivalrous in fighting, but who, because of deriding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were called Rakshasas or demons. One may be very well educated, but if he has no sense of Krishna consciousness, no obedience to the Supreme Lord, he is a demon. That is described by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 7.15. Namam dushkritino mudaha prapadyante naradamaha maya pahrutagnana asuram bhavamashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Asurim bhavam refers to not accepting the existence of God or the transcendental instructions of the personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita clearly consists of transcendental instructions imparted directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Asuras, instead of accepting these instructions directly, make commentaries according to their own whimsical ways and mislead everyone without profit even for themselves. One should therefore be very careful of demoniac, godless persons. According to the words of Lord Krishna, even if a godless demon is very well educated, he must be considered a mudha, taradama, and maya apahrata gnana. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Enam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The leaders of the demons thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus, the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of Vedic knowledge and were all famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. So we see here the story of the churning of the ocean. Let's try to understand a little bit of the history behind this. So what happened that the demigods were once cursed by Durvasa Muni, and because of that curse, they were defeated in the battle by the Asuras. And because of that, they were deprived of their heavenly kingdom. It's very natural. The demigods, it's the natural place to be ruling in the heavenly planets. And when they're displaced, what do they normally do? Usually they first go to Brahma, right? And then they will, say, oh, please help us, we are in this unfortunate situation. And Brahma takes the delegation to meet Shirodakashaya Vishnu. And similar situation happened here. They all went to see Lord Vishnu. And it is said that when the Lord first appeared, he was so brilliant that they could only see his light. So they couldn't even make out the features of the Lord. And Brahma was first able to see properly. And he started offering obeisances and prayers. And then the others were able to slowly see. And then Vishnu, he says, yes, I will help you. And we'll just read a little bit about what happens next. Because of the prayers offered by the demigods, Lord Shirodakashaya Vishnu was pleased with the demigods and thus he appeared before them. Right? I'll just skip a little bit. So when they were offered prayers both by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, both went. The Supreme Personality of Godhead was pleased. Thus he gave appropriate instructions to all the demigods. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Ajita, unconquerable, advised the demigods to make a peace proposal to the demons, so that after formulating a truce, the demigods and the demons could churn the ocean of milk. Right? They were advised to make a truce, and then together let's churn the ocean. And the understanding was that the churning of the ocean would produce what will come out? Nectar will come out, right? And there was an agreement to share among each other. And the Lord, gave them some advice in this matter. He said, he said that many attractive things would be generated by the churning, but the Lord warned the demigods not to be captivated by such things, nor should the demigods be angry if there were some disturbances. Right? So we'll fast forward a little bit. All of this background happened. Then the truce was called. Who was the head of the demons at this time? Bali Maharaj, right? So a truce was called. They all agreed, and it was agreed that Vasuki, obviously the biggest snake that exists, would be the rope by which they will churn, and the Mandara mountain would be the pivot for churning, right? So that the churning of the ocean can be done. So they started carrying the Mandara mountain, and even then, the mountain was so heavy that they were all fatigued, and some of them died in the process. Again, Lord Vishnu had to come to rescue. Right? So Lord Vishnu came on the Garuda and lifted the Mandara mountain and brought it to the location where the churning was supposed to happen. And then the churning also, right? The mountain would not stay in place. Right? It would sink. But anyway, before that, before the sinking happens, this is when this story happens. But which side who will take? So now if you see in this particular verse, see the Lord is actually, many people ask this question. If the Lord is impartial to everyone, right? He is, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. How come he is favoring the demigods? Right? Why is he favoring the demigods? Why is he seems to be punishing the demons? The reality is, the Lord is truly Suhridam. He is always wanting the good of all living entities, including those living entities who for the time being are still trying to eke out enjoyment in this material world by their own endeavor. The difference between a demigod and a demon, the line is very, very thin. It's not, you can't distinguish them by their look or something like that. Right? Sometimes, we see pictures, in the Christian tradition, right? Oh, demons will all be reddish in color. They'll have some 2 horns in their head, right? They have a tail, things like that. It's unfortunately that is not how the demons are described. Especially, which is the one planet where the demons live to their highest extent? Sutala planet, right? The Sutala planet where Bali Maharaj resides, that planet is the perfect example of demons living to their highest. See, these demons, Bali Maharaj and all his people, they were all very beautiful. They were very well formed, nice, strong, very attractive looking. Their kingdom was very opulent. It's not like, that they were living in some abject poverty or something. And, sometimes we see demigods are also shown, that they are, very disheveled and all that. And they're, there are Rakshasas and all who are like that. But in this case, these, shall we say, high class daityas, they were very polished. The Sutala planet is described that their level of enjoyment would rival that of the heavenly planets. In fact, in the reign of Bali Maharaj, their planet was better than the heavenly planets. Much higher levels of sense gratification. They had big, beautiful palaces. They had wonderful, beautiful wives and nice children. You see, down in those Sutala planets, the sun doesn't reach properly. But they had created beautiful mechanisms by which they had, nice light, nice everything. Just like we see here, right? We have up in the Western world, right? In the earlier days, when you go back and read, the times of, how different Puranas are written and all that, nobody would want to come to these parts of the world. If you have a nice place where the weather is good, so many beautiful, vegetables and fruits and everything grows nicely, rivers are flowing beautifully, just like we all went to Hawaii, right? Nice weather like that. Who wants to come and stay in cold places where there's no sun so many times of the year, there is no this thing, so many other problems are there. Nobody would want to even live here. Right? Prabhupada explains that it was under the action of Jamadagni's son, Parashuram. Parashurama's, killing all these miscreant Kshatriyas so many times, like 21 times or something, right? Was it 21? 7 times 3 generations. He was, because the Kshatriyas had become so, they become rogues. They were not properly following the Vedic this thing. And so they were killed so many times, and out of fear of Parashuram, they fled away to all these regions, saying, okay, you won't come here at least. And that is how all these different Western world was populated. They were all Kshatriyas only. They're coming from the same, Aryan civilization. The modern historians, they have the exact same story, but just a little reversed. They say that if you go read, these things, they said, yes, there were Aryans, but Aryans lived somewhere in the Middle East, in Turkey, that area, above that area. And those Aryans migrated to India. And Dravidians are the original inhabitants of India. But these people came and they brought civilization with them and all that. Same story is there, same this thing is there, but exactly reverse. Just like we're seeing in this verse. What is given, they won't take this. They will just manipulate it some different ways. Right? So, these Daityas, they're not that they look different or this thing. They are very polished. Oh, not only that, they know the Vedas. In this verse also, see what is saying here. They were Swadhyaya Shruta Sampannaha. Shruta. Right? Shruta means hearing, Vedas. Shruta Sampannaha. They were Swadhyaya, they were very deeply studying Sampannaha. Sampanna means fully equipped. They were fully equipped with Vedic knowledge. And they would use that Vedic knowledge to manipulate this world, to gain material prosperity. It sounds very exactly like what is happening today. Right? The modern scientists, right, they are understanding the laws of nature, manipulating those laws. And in a very short time, they have created all these fantasies of things that we see around us. Right? All this technology and transistor and chips and processors and internet and artificial intelligence, all these things. They're all based on manipulation of the laws of nature. So they, in that sense, they are also Shruta Sampannaha. Right? If you go to the big universities over here, the people who are doing PhDs and all that, it is not a joke. They're doing deep tapasya. Right? Most of those students, if you go see them, they'll be working 10, 12, 14 hours a day, sacrificing food and sleep and family and everything. So when one does tapasya in this world, automatically they will have prosperity. But if you forget the Supreme Lord and still do tapasya and all these things, then that is the difference between Asura and the Suras. That's the only difference. They don't accept the Supreme Lord and his position. And so we see here that despite having a lot of intelligence and a lot of understanding, they were misguided. The Lord took pity on them. And he said, okay, why trouble them so much? I will personally take care of the front portion. Right? And then I'm giving you the easy portion. Okay. Go, take it. And these, they're all sitting and thinking, there must be some scheme. Ajita, the Supreme Lord, was there. He is always siding the demigods. So they're doubting him. Because it looks like the Lord is always siding with the demigods. But the Lord is actually, it's very clearly given in the Shastras. He is always equal to everyone. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham. If you approach the Lord with cunningness and this and all those things, He will reciprocate with you also with His cunningness and this. If you approach the Lord with the purity of heart, simplicity of thought, and just go, oh, Krishna, please help me, in a very simple way, the Lord will reciprocate with you exactly the same. Right? That is why in the Shastras there is so much this thing. Prabhupada sometimes used to quote the Christians, there is a saying, blessed are those, what last part? Blessed are those who are blessed, whose minds are simple. In the In the Bible, in the Christian tradition, there is a famous saying, blessed are those whose minds are simple. In fact, this simplicity of thought, simplicity of consciousness, is a very important aspect of spiritual development. See, because just see over here in this situation. In this world, the Vedic knowledge is so vast, so complicated, so this thing. Until and unless we are guided by the Paramatma in the heart and the Guru who is a representative of that Paramatma, also both within and without, it is very easy to misinterpret things and get the exact opposite meaning. So that is why, when we are practicing spiritual life, if you really want to advance fast and advance, nicely, one should develop the consciousness of like speaking what is in our mind, creating an atmosphere and an understanding where we are able to share, our inner feelings, our deep thoughts as they are. Because that simplicity attracts the attention of the Supreme Lord. Right? And it attracts the attention and attracts the mercy of the Supreme Lord as well. That is why it is sometimes said, even if you are, in the Shastras, said even if you are a simple woman, because Vedic understanding is that, some people, there are many people who are simple, they are just trying to live their own simple lives. If you take to Krishna consciousness, that simplicity can actually become such a huge boon and help you advance so much faster. So we see here the demigods, were just going with the Lord. They said, Lord said, okay, come here. They came there. Lord said, go there. They will go there. But the demons, knowing all their swadhyaya chuta sampannaha, they protested, saying, no. They had a logical explanation. They were not illogical. See, when you're trying to respect somebody or something, you'll respect the head, right? The head is more important than the feet. So like that, they are saying, hey, you are holding the top portion, we are holding the feet, is it? Right? Why? Why us? We want the head. Okay, if that's what you want, I try to help you. But if you don't want to be helped, if you want to be smart, be smart. Face the consequences of that smartness. Right? And the demigods were always this is the qualities of devotees. Right? We're always looking for guidance. We're looking for some level of somebody higher up than us who's able to think a little clearer, giving us some guidance, giving us some direction, how we should do, what we should do. And we take it. Because if you apply logic in this situation, we might also say, yeah, it makes sense. If you catch the head only. Right? But it ended up becoming a very dangerous situation for the demons. So we'll just quickly see what happens after this. So Prabhupada is saying, you may be very highly educated, aristocratic, but if he is godless, he won't listen to the instructions of God. Right? So after this, what happened? The demons, having caught Vasuki, had, obviously Vasuki is a huge serpent, very poisonous, hoods are there, and he's being inconvenienced. They are pulling him left and right like this. And so he's like, just naturally, right? He's angry and this and bush and all that. And the demigods, the demons are actually being killed. The poison is coming out of his mouth, flames are coming out. They are still, now they've made the decision, they don't want to accept that they're wrong. And you go, they're all dying. And the demigods are very happily, catching the tail with Ajita. And they're churning. At that time, what happens? The Mandara mountain sinks. When the mountain sinks, they again go to the Supreme. Oh, Krishna, you should only help us. And then the Lord appears as a tortoise, right, and lifts up the Mandara mountain on his back. And then now they are invigorated again, and the churning starts one more time. Right? Now, when this churning is going on, it's already 8:42. We'll quickly try to wrap up what exactly happened to some point, and then we'll continue the next time. When the initial churning happened, there were different beings that were produced from the churning. Let's see here. I'm just wondering. We'll just read a little bit about who all were produced in this thing, right? First, poison is produced from the churning, right? So when the poison comes out, it's so toxic, nobody is able to bear the intensity of the poison. And they appeal to Lord Shiva to help. And Lord Shiva is Ashutosha, is very easily pleased, and he agrees to help. And it is said that when Lord Shiva agrees to drink the poison, Mother Parvati was, quite appreciative of it. She didn't protest or anything like that. Oh, you're going to drink poison, because she knew the greatness of Lord Shiva. And so when the poison was produced, Lord Shiva drank the poison, and that's why you see in Nilakantha we say, right, Lord Shiva's neck became bluish. And it is said that in that process, a little bit of poison just fell off the side of his hands. And from that poison, all the poisonous creatures in this world got their poison. The snakes and the scorpions and the poisonous insects and then all those different creatures, very envious creatures. And after that, the churning continued. First, the Surabhi cow was produced, right? Surabhi cow was produced, and the great saintly persons accepted this cow to derive clarified butter from its milk and offer this clarified butter in oblations for great sacrifices. Thereafter, a horse named Ucheshrava was generated. This horse was taken by Bali Maharaj. And then Airavata was produced, who is the king of the elephants. He could go in any directions and all that. And Airavata was taken by Indra. Then the Kaustuba gem was generated. Lord Vishnu took that gem and placed it on his chest. Then a Parijata flower and the Apsaras, the most beautiful women in the universe, were generated. Then the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, appeared. Right? When Lakshmi Devi appeared, there was no one, obviously, she could find who was suitable for her. And so at that point, the goddess of fortune could not find anyone to accept her as her husband. And at last she selected Lord Vishnu to be her master. And Lord Vishnu gave her a place to stay everlastingly at his chest. Right? At this time, the demons were a little unhappy, because they knew that now Lakshmi also is joined with Narayana. And then Narayana always sides with the demigods. And they were dejected and disappointed. What is this? We want wealth, we want opulence and all this, but No, she's gone with Vishnu. At this point, in compensation, what was given to them? Anybody remember? So as compensation, Varuni. So you see here. Then Varuni, the goddess of drinking, was generated. And by the order of Lord Vishnu, the demons happily accepted her. Now they were also very happy. So, from the Shastric understanding, this quality of drinking, this is a very favorite pastime of the demigods. The demons. They were as happy to lose, they were happy to that Lakshmi Devi went with Vishnu. We got equal compensation by getting Varuni to drink. So that's why, obviously in the Shastras, intoxication is not a acceptable standard for the sadhus. Right? And then later we'll see after this, Dhanvantari appears with the nectar, and then there is fighting and all those things that happen after this. Okay, we'll stop here. Anybody has any quick questions or comments? Lord wanted to give them good things only. Na? Always, I said, Lord is always wanting to give good to everybody. We show our extra smartness. The demigods are ready to accept what the Lord gives us. Thank you. Because we have to accept that our intelligence is limited. Right? That's why in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that Asuri Bhava, what is the Asuri Bhava? This, they are thinking Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham iti manyate. When they are Vimudas, Visheshataha Mudaha Kartaham iti manyate. I am the doer. I am smart. I am intelligent. I can read the Vedas. Yes, if the Vedas, it will be said somewhere, hey, you should only take good care of the head. Anybody will say that, right? It's okay if you cut off the leg also. Vedas will say that. Because, if head is there, you can live. Legs are not important. But yes, but for a snake, stay away from the head. Be near the tail of the snake. Now, this finer understanding can only somebody with higher intelligence only can give. The Lord is ready to give that to everybody, even to the demons. Bali Maharaj is a Asura. The Lord accepted to become his doorkeeper. What else do you want? And Bali Maharaj, by his goodness, he enjoyed both the opulences of that and the devotion to the Supreme Lord. Right? That is the rare period in the Asura history where the Asuras were more powerful and more glorious because they are all devotees of the Lord. Right? So that's why we see that it is not that the Lord doesn't want to give. We are showing our extra smartness and we want the head of the snake. That is the problem. Okay? Stop here. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Bol Premanand.